I decided to do a recording for my coaches panel reflection, so here it goes. Um, I just think the biggest thing for me throughout listening to the coaches was how closely related a lot of their coaching values that they stated related to my style of leadership, and a lot of them actually related very closely to my qualities of leadership that I listed in the second tier of my pyramid the day we turned it in, which was Tuesday, the day of the panel. And those four qualities or values for leadership that I listed for my second tier were respect, dedication, communication, and accountability. And I just think each coach gave at least one nugget that kind of related to those. So I'll start with dedication. And like one thing that really stuck out for me was how dedicated these coaches were to making their players and better people. I know Coach Feeney mentioned it, and Coach Gina and Bovey kind of agreed with it, but she said, the goal is to bring in athletes, but send out, great people, great young adults, prepare them for the real world. And another thing with dedication is they were asked a question about, is it hard coaching? Have you ever had that moment where you wanted to quit coaching? And they all kind of agreed, tough losses, whatever. But the one that stuck out to me was Coach Bovey talking about, the bus breaking down, or they have to walk to that type of thing, walk to a game. And I just think that really stuck out to me as wow. I mean, that guy was really dedicated to his team. And I think that's just incredibly important, especially as a potential future leader in the world. If you're in the workplace, if you're a parent, whatever it may be, you have to be dedicated to what you're doing and stick through the hard times. And then another quality that I had was respect. And I kind of defined respect as treating others how you want to be treated type of thing, simply put. And again, Coach Feeney mentioned it and the other two coaches agreed, but she said, she kind of asked a question in response to a student's question. Are players 1 through 12, or however many players on the team, are they all being coached the same, or are the best players being coached different? And I just think what she was getting at is it doesn't matter how young or old, how experienced or inexperienced, how talented or not talented someone is, they're all important members of the team. And so you have to coach them all the same. And I think that can be applied to real life, like in the workplace. Every employee there, regardless of payroll or importance of their job, whatever it may be, they all put in their work and bring something to the table that makes the company or whatever business better. And so I think they should all be treated the same and given the same respect in the workplace. And then another quality that I had was communication, and kind of some nuggets that really stuck out to me from the coaches panel was Coach Bovey kind of said, sometimes it's hard to tell a player that they're not good enough to play, or it's hard to cut a player or tell a player, hey, you didn't make the cut, you're not good enough to play for my team. And I think part of what I define communication as in my pyramid is being able to not only give positive feedback, because that's the easy part, but be able to kind of have those hard conversations with people and tell them what they need to hear. And I think Coach Bovey saying that really kind of highlighted that in my brain. I was like, man, that really relates closely to how I described communication, because like I said, it doesn't matter if you're coaching, telling a player they're not good enough to play, if you're a boss in the workplace and you have to fire somebody or tell them, hey, you're getting demoted to this position until you can earn your way back to your current one, or the parent when you have to have that tough conversation with your kids about, hey, I still love you, you made this mistake, but I need you to be better. Those aren't the easy conversations to be had, but you have to develop good communication skills and be able to kind of say the right things to help build up the person in those tough times. And then the last quality that I listed that really kind of stuck out to me in some of the nuggets they gave through their not presentation, but answering the questions, was accountability. And I kind of defined accountability in a leadership perspective as, being able to step up and share the blame or take full responsibility for something that goes wrong under your leadership. And I think each coach kind of agreed with it, But Coach Bovey mentioned, one of his biggest fears as a coach is being the reason his team wasn't successful or he could have done something better. And he said, like, if we lose, my team does something wrong, la da 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 da, that falls on me as a coach. I could have done better as a coach. I could have helped, done something more as a coach to help these players be more successful. And I think that's a really noble act. It's hard to do just as a human being, but in a leadership position, it's very necessary because not only does it just make sense for a leader who has people under his leadership, he's responsible for them. So not only does it just make logical sense for him to be like, you know what, part of that is my fault. I'm sorry, I'll do better. But also, it kind of ties into respect to where, as a leader, if you say, you know what, guys, we all could have done better, part of that is my fault. I think it just shows all of your employees, players, even your kids, whatever type of leadership role you're in, it shows them that, man, this guy really cares about me. He's willing to share the blame and try to make me better. This is someone that I can really respect, and this is someone that I see more clearly now as a good leader. So I think that accountability aspect that Coach Bovey brought up also really highlighted that in my brain. Like, man, that is really important as a leader to be able to do that. And so those are kind of the things that stuck out to me during the coaches panel, and hearing their responses was how closely related a lot of their values were to my second tier, especially the second tier of my pyramid. I'm sure there were other values from the first tier that we did that also stuck out to me, but I just decided to focus on the second because they were fresh in my mind, and I was like, man, these are all really closely related. But yeah, so those are kind of how their responses and what they said, the nuggets they gave, kind of formed in my brain and how I related them to my qualities from the second tier of my pyramid. Thanks for watching.